What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Me TV Reviews. I am your host, Mo, and tonight, you guys, we're doing something new. All right, so I told y'all we were going to be starting Spookyween season, and so this is a part of it. Of course, I hopefully have some more things coming down the pike, but for now, y'all, we're going to be discussing one of my favorite mystery murder game shows, Who Done It? All one word, y'all. There are a couple of books based off or heavily inspired. Well, the show is heavily inspired by the books, y'all. Okay. So there are two books, and honestly, I wish they would have had multiple seasons, but unfortunately, this is the only one, y'all. And you can find it on YouTube. So if you want to watch it and skip ahead for the Halloween season, please do. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead. There's no synopsis, y'all. It's broken down into, I think, 9 videos on the playlist that I usually watch. I watch it from time to time, y'all, just because I love it so much. And there's nothing like it. And I actually go back and read the books too. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. So this game show it's basically 13 contestants. They have all been invited to play the ultimate game of murder mysteries. The last person to unmask whodunit will win $250,000. So let me go ahead and introduce the contestants to you. So we have Cam, who is a Homeland Security attorney. Adriana, who is a TV crime reporter. Don, who is an ex-homicide detective, although he's telling people that he's a football coach. Gino, who is a bar trivia host. Lindsay, who's an engineer. Ulysses, who is an attorney. Chris, who is an ex-beauty queen. Sasha, who is a journalist. Melina, who is a flight attendant. Dante, who is an insurance investigator. Sherry, who is an ex-NFL cheerleader. I think she cheered for the Rams or something like that. And then Dana, who is a cardiac nurse. And finally, Ronnie, who is a bounty hunter. Now, this game show does the setup is at this old, well, it's not old, but it's this humongous mansion, y'all. And they are, the guest host is Giles. Now Giles is supposed to be the butler, okay? And he is there to ensure that whoever is responsible for these heinous murders, he is there to ensure that their deeds are carried out, because if not, then he may end up dead as well. Okay. That's the storyline. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into episode 1. We're going to do 2 at a time. Okay. So all of the contestants arrive. They start to introduce themselves. I'm not going to go through all of that, y'all. I just gave y'all the characters and their breakdowns. And so after they finish introducing themselves and mingling a little bit, they toast it up to the game. And Sherry, who has had a little too much to drink, ends up dropping her glass and shattering it all over the floor. Okay, and so they end up all going to their rooms to go do other things, just go roam around the mansion. And they are told that they'll be called back within a few hours and they'll find out why they're there. Now, they are there, from what they've been told so far, is to play a murder mystery game. Or, yeah, a mystery game. Not a murder mystery game, but a mystery game. And so some of them are thinking that they're just going to be playing the, like some escape rooms or something like that, or solving some puzzles or something like that. But no. So after they're dismissed for a few hours, y'all, they hear this big old crash downstairs. And of course, everybody comes down and they find Sherry dead on the floor. Now, she is in her bathrobe and she is on the ground. The fish tank has shattered. And so you got dead fish flopping around. I don't know if they were actually hurt or if these are just prop shows. But you got dead fish flopping around. And then you've also got a live wire, okay, that's sparking off, which would make you assume that she was electrocuted to death, okay? So, of course, everybody starts to carry on hysterically. And when I initially watched this show, I was like, is this for real? And then The more and more I've looked at it, and then it's crazy because when I started to actually review the show, I heard one of the contestants say, even though I know that it's not real or that she's not dead, it's still pretty shocking. So I was like, okay. And then I knew, like, after watching it the first time, that it wasn't real. But it's just the fact that I think she slipped up and everybody else was supposed to, like, stay in character. It was just weird. So anyway, y'all, Sherry's dead, but she ain't dead. Okay, she just eliminated from the game. So now they have to investigate her murder and figure out just how she died. So the contestants are given the option to choose from one of 3 locations to investigate. And this is going to run throughout the entire game. They have the option to choose between the crime scene, the last known whereabouts, and the morgue. Okay, now why in the hell they got a morgue in this house? I don't know, but this is advanced. Do you hear me? Because I think this show came out in 2013. Because, yep, 2013. So anyway, y'all, way before their time. So we've got a couple of people that decided to choose the crime scene. I'm sorry, y'all, I had split it up. So we've got Cam, Melina, Don, Chris, and Lindsay who decide to go for the crime scene. We've got Dana, Dante, and Ulysses for the morgue. And then we've got Gino, Adriana, Ronnie, and Sasha for the last known whereabouts. I'm going to figure out how to make this a little bit better for my understanding when I go back and do the recaps within the next couple of episodes, y'all. Okay, so Cam, Melina, Don, Chris, and Lindsay, they're at the crime scene, and they didn't really find anything out about, the crime scene aside from the obvious that the fish tank had broke and that she had probably been pushed forward. Some of them are thinking that she fell from the second story. Some of them are thinking that she got pushed. Y'all, it's a mess. Okay, so they're still trying to figure it out. In the morgue, they find this metal ball that looks like an old musket bullet after they roll Sherry over, because initially they didn't see anything besides, like I said, the slight burns that she had on her from her obviously being electrocuted while she was down. And so they roll her over and they end up finding this metal ball lodged in the back of her spinal cord. Okay. Now, me seeing that now versus me seeing it back then, I was like, oh, okay, because they were thinking that it was an old musket bullet. But we'll get there. So this immediately caused paralysis, right? Paralysis. And so in the last known whereabouts, we've got Gino, Adriana, Ronnie, and Sasha. And they find that someone had broke into Sherry's room and that the killer wrote a message on the mirror to meet them at the fish tank. So, y'all, Adriana is in this group. And let me just tell y'all, Adriana is a TV crime reporter, and she is trying to pick up on every little thing. She thinks every little thing is a clue. And so she ended up finding something on the a piece of the nightstand had fell off or chipped off or something like that. And so she was like, oh, is this a clue? Is this a clue? Y'all, that lady is goofy. Okay. So they end up going to the shower, obviously. And it was still partially foggy in there, or at least it was on the mirror. And so they ended up seeing something that was written on the mirror. It wasn't written in like lipstick. So Ronnie actually it was either Ronnie or Gina, I can't remember at this point. But they actually used a steamer that was in the bathroom and fogged up the rest of the mirror to get that message off of there, which was incredible. Okay. I probably wouldn't even thought about that. So some of them are thinking well beyond, and some of them are just like, what the what? So then, after they get those clues, of course, they go sit outside for a second and try to figure out who they want to click up with, so to speak, so they can make sure that they get information from all the scenes. That way they can state their case or the best case that they can later on today. Okay. And so they end up playing this game that requires them to solve a riddle that reveals the murder weapon. Now, I ain't gonna go into details about the game, y'all, because it was a lot of running. They were ripping and running all through the house. One of the clues ended up telling them to go to a specific Bible verse that they received keys, right? And so the keys had the numbers on them in the front, but then somebody finally flipped the daggone key over. I don't know what took so long, or maybe it was just editing, but they finally flipped the key over and they saw 2 king's crowns on there. Okay. And so then, of course, Sasha being, heavily involved in the church, and then Lindsay also being a preacher's kid, they immediately flip to 2 Kings. They find a verse in there, and then they start going off of that, right? So then Ronnie ends up going to the window facing east, and after he moves the curtain back, he notices that one of the glass plates is missing. That is completely missing. And so then he ends up running outside because he sees like this little storage shed out there. It's not really a shed. It's more like a storage tub. Anyway, so he goes out there. He uses the code on the key to unlock the lock on the storage thing, and he ends up finding a slingshot and a crowbar in there. Now, when he went out there, of course, like I said, it was a lot of ripping and running. By this point, people had finally caught on, and so they were kind of just like running after him. And so because this was the first riddle that they had solved, he was just like, okay, well, now I know how to play. Maybe I should have kept all of this to myself, to use it to my advantage later on to make sure that I'm still here for the long run. So they ended up finding a slingshot and a crowbar. And as soon as the riddle is solved, they hear a bell, okay, to let them know that the riddle is solved. Okay, so after that, they now have to go state their case in the library using all of the information that they got regarding, or as much information as they could get from all of the different crime scenes, and then or from all of the scenes that they were able to investigate, along with the clues that they found from the riddle to state their case. And so they have to state their case in the library, which consists of them all painting this full picture of what happened to Sherry. So I'm going to give y'all a brief gist, and if I miss some things, my bad. So whoever is doing this noticed how ditzy and clumsy she was, and so that was their trigger for her to just be put out. Now, in reality, I think she probably ended up testing really low. I don't know how they decide the first person to eliminate, but either way, y'all, whoever's doing this decided that was it. That was all they needed to see out of her. And so they ended up breaking into her room while she was in the shower using a crowbar. They used the steamer that was in the bathroom not the steamer. They wrote a message on the mirror while she was in the shower. Now, how she didn't see this, that somebody was in her room, it couldn't have been that damn foggy. But we gonna go with it just because, for the sake of the game. So anyway, this person ended up writing the message on the mirror to meet them downstairs by the fish tank once she got out. And so that is exactly what she did. Now, when she went down there was nobody there. However, whoever is doing this was outside. They used the slingshot, and might I say, they must have had top tier aim, because where they were from that window to where she was at the fish tank, you have got to have impeccable aim to hit her the first time in the spinal cord to paralyze her. Okay. And so they ended up hitting her in the back of her spinal cord. She fell forward. She hit the fish tank, and then the fish tank cracked. Now, of course, over time, the pressure is going to cause the fish tank to finally completely break. And that's exactly what happened. Now, in the meantime, as it's still cracking, they ended up shaving like the wiring off of an electrical cord, exposing the wires. And so, of course, once the water hit the wire, she was already dead at that point, but she got electrocuted. Okay. Pretty elaborate, right? So that was the first one. And so at dinner, of course, they eat. But then after they eat, all of the contestants are given an envelope. Now, the two contestants who scored the lowest on their case will receive scared cards, while everyone else receives spared cards. Correction. 2 or more people will receive scared cards, okay? So it's just not limited to 2. Let me clarify that, because that will take place later on in the season. And so the one who presented the best case will be highlighted in every episode, and this time the best person who stated their case was Sasha, which was crazy because she wasn't the one who found any of the, I guess, the very important clues, the critical clues. And so the 2 people that ended up receiving scared cards were Don and Dante. Now, later on that night, when it's time to go to bed, they're given estate official pajamas. And so, of course, both of them are really nervous that they're going to be next. Giles informs them that they're going to have a pajama brunch tomorrow. So they've all received those PJs, like I said. And then everybody tries to go to sleep, right? So in the middle of the night, they're woken up due to the fire alarm going off. And of course, everybody rushes out where a head count is given. And everyone is there except for Don and Dante. But at last, here comes Don. And soon after they see Don, they hear Dante before they see him. Y'all, Dante is running straight for the pool because he's engulfed in flames. Dante's Inferno. And so he ends up belly flopping into the pool and he dies on impact. And that's the way the episode ends. All right. So we're going to go ahead and go right into episode 2. Now, as I said, Dante is dead, and Giles reveals that he too is in a very compromising position at the beginning of this one, because everybody is like, what the hell is happening? Like 2 murders? What are we doing here? And so he was like, yeah, I really don't have a choice. So y'all figuring out who did this is going to help me get the hell up out of here too. And he ends up showing them his ankle bracelet, y'all. So I guess he can't go nowhere neither, because if he do, it's not like he got a bomb strapped to him or anything like that. I don't know. There's some questionable things happening on the show. So anyway, Don then brings them all together as a group saying, hey, we need to work together to survive, because of course people started playing the blame game about clicking up and who's working with who, and why didn't you tell me this, that, and the third. Now, this is a game. So, of course, people aren't going to tell you everything that they know, because they want to make it to the end so they can win that money. Duh. But it is what it is, okay? And so, of course, they split up. They have to either go to the last known whereabouts, go to the crime scene, or go to the morgue. This is much better, y'all, how I did the second episode. So, Gino, Ronnie, Lindsay, and Melina end up going to the last known whereabouts, while Sasha, Kim, and Adriana go to the crime scene, and Don, Dana, Ulysses, and Chris go to the morgue. All right. So just the key highlights from the last known whereabouts. They ended up finding a medallion of Saint Agatha, which is like the protector of fire or something like that. And then they also noticed that there was like this sunburst, like how something explodes on impact, or sparks on impact. They noticed a sunburst right around the door handle. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And then they also noticed a rug in his room. Now, I'm not sure if everybody else had rugs in their room, but they noticed one in his room. In the crime scene, They noticed that Dante had different socks than everybody else was given. They also noticed the necklace that was floating at the bottom of the pool that said Saint Agatha. Now, this is going to come into play because people are going to try to switch the name of the protector, well, like Saint Agatha. They're going to switch this name around to confuse other people to throw them off their case, okay, or when they present their case. They also find fragments from his PJs. And then also in the morgue, Don takes over. And y'all, he keep on telling these folks that he's a daggone football coach, but clearly the way that he's talking and the way that he's analyzing his crime scene, you can tell that he had a past life as a detective, okay? So he ends up taking over. He notices the right side center of Dante's chest was the point of origin. So like where he caught fire. And they also noticed that he has on different PJs than everybody else. All right, so completely different setup for last night. This is going to play a part for sure. So people are playing the game by switching, like I said, the name of the patron around. So much so that some of them are actually starting to confuse themselves because some people were telling others like Saint Agnes, which I guess is pretty close. But that was one of them things where it's like, if depending on where you were or what you chose to investigate, if you know, then you know. Okay. And so they end up going to the riddle, and Melina is the one who figures out the part about the cycles. They have to go to the laundry room. And so they have these flags that they get for the riddle to start off with. And like I said, with the cycles, she went downstairs and she looked in the laundry room, and in the cabinet there was a bottle of benzene. And so she sprayed it, and on the back of the flag it turned this pink, like this pink stripe just went straight down the flag, right? And so now they have to figure out where they recognize this pink stripe from. So they're running all around the house, and then finally Chris says something to Cam about that being the Rue crest, the Rue Manor crest, which they found on the second floor. Well, Cam got up there first, and he tried to touch the door. Well, when he touched the door, he got zapped. Okay, he got shocked, and the crest ended up like catching on fire immediately, like it sparked and then it went out. And so now they know how Dante died. I'm trying to think. Yep. So post riddle, because Chris had mentioned something about the crest and where she had remembered it from, she was invited to join Cam's crew. Now in Cam's crew is Cam, Ulysses, Lindsay, and Chris. And initially it was Cam, Ulysses, and Gino, but something happened with Gino, and so Gino decided to go his own way. And that's pretty much it. Okay. Now, because a lot of people didn't get to see what actually happened with Cam and Chris, because the both of them are in their own group, they don't have to disclose this information to anybody else. And they don't. Now, people are coming over trying to talk to them, and Cam is just being an a-hole. Like, he is given the bad guy role in this show because he is just the ultimate jerk the entire show, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all that now, okay? So we're not gonna like him, but it is what it is. So anyway, he's telling people no left and right. We need a second to talk to figure out how we're gonna get our case together. And y'all, one of the main people that's having a whole come apart because she does not have everything put together is Dana. Now, Dana and Ulysses went to the morgue the first episode. And so, she thought that based off of that they had formed some type of connection where they would share information, even though they might have been in different groups. But they would always have each other's back. And so she is desperately trying to get to Ulysses, honey. And Ulysses is not. He's just like, girl, I need some time. And she never gets the information because it's time for them to state their case. And so a lot of them have decent cases, and some of them have just completely missed the mark. Some of them, I can't even remember what some of them were saying, y'all, but it was crazy. Oh, let me see if I can think of something. I can't remember, y'all. Okay, so this is what happened. So Dante was given those different pajamas. Okay. Um, he was given the different pajamas and the different socks. He was also given that necklace as like a mockery almost. Yeah, because we knew that it wasn't going to do anything for him. But because he was nervous, he figured, why the hell not, right? So, unbeknownst to him, the pajamas were sprayed down in benzene, like the whole pajama set, which is highly flammable, I believe. And so, when the fire alarm went off, he ran across the rug, gathered up static electricity because he had his socks on. Now, let me say this, okay? If you sleep in the bed in socks, you are a monster. I don't know what is wrong with you. And then depending on what type of socks they are, if they're like them fuzzy, cozy, warm, what is wrong with y'all? Okay. I cannot sleep in a bed in socks. That would irritate my soul. So once he got out of bed after the fire alarm went off, he ran across the rug in these socks. Of course, he gathered up static electricity. And so once he touched the doorknob, he instantly went up in flames. Okay, because of the static electricity that he had built up, and then of course it's sparking with the benzene, and so that's how he got set on fire. All right. So at the dinner, of course, like I said, we've got people that are highlighted each episode for who stated the best case. In this instance, it was Ulysses. All right. And Cam is shocked because I guess he thought that since he was there, he had it all down packed. But if you sharing the information, don't get upset. All right. So for this one, everyone is spared except for Dana and Adriana. And Dana is really upset, y'all, because she was banking on the information from Ulysses and she's not used to underperforming, according to her. Now, she also believes that Adriana, this is just her trying to throw people off their game. She believes that she's actually the killer. Okay. And Adriana says that if it's her time, it's her time. But she liked to try to be spared this go round to try to win that $250,000. But if she doesn't, it is what it is. All right. And so the next morning at 7:13, we see Adriana staring at something that scares her enough to where she drops her bowl of cereal. What did the bowls of cereal do to you? What did it do? Why did you do that? Okay. Um I probably would have took it with me. Anyway, so something scares her enough to where she drops the bowl of cereal and she makes a beeline for the door. Now, she ends up rushing across the lawn and down the steps into a waiting golf cart. And then as she gets close to the closed gate, she tries to get out to open it up. And when she does, y'all, because she doesn't get out all the way, but when she tries to get out the golf cart explodes and sends her flying through the air where she lands in a tree. And that's the way the second episode ends. Like I said, y'all, if y'all want to do this show, it is on YouTube. They got the whole playlist. I think it's like 9 episodes. I watch it from time to time, y'all, just to get a good giggle. Okay. I love that show. It used to scare me a little bit, because my paranoia was on high alert back then. It's probably worse now, actually, but I know what's happening. So if you want to watch it, it's on YouTube. Please go enjoy yourself, okay? If you've got some time, this is part of the Spookyween series. Of course, I've got some more shows hopefully coming down the pike for Spookyween. We've got American Horror Story, and then, of course, I want to do a movie like I usually do every year. So if you have any suggestions about what movie you would like for me to review, as long as it's scary, let me know, okay? You can reach me at Me and You TV Reviews on Facebook and on Instagram. You can also reach me at My TV Reviews Podcast without the S on the end at gmail.com, okay? I love you guys. Thank you so, 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 so much for listening. It is definitely not going unnoticed. I have seen an increase in my followers, so definitely thank you guys. I'm trying, y'all. I really am trying to get stuff up to YouTube, but it'd be so hard because I work and I got a little baby running around. Okay, and so when she go to sleep, most of the time I go to sleep. And as a matter of fact, I went to sleep and I woke up, so that's why my voice sounds like this, y'all. So I'm trying to give y'all something in the middle of the night. All right. But I hope you guys have a wonderful start to your week. You guys stay safe out there. For all of my people down in the Southeast, please, 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 please be safe. All right. And that's all I have for now. So until we meet over the airwaves again, I am Mo, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Oh, and if you want to watch this show, it is WhoDunIt. It's all one word. It's WhoDunit. All right. Not DONE. DUN. All right. All right. Bye, y'all.